Alright, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, Connor on Chains. So, we got the market, same thing as the last few days, same thing as last week. Not doing too much, trending sideways, going down. Meme coins, especially over the last few days, have been, kind of hit a little bit hard, which, again, at the end of the day, it's in current market conditions, I don't expect much from any coins in any narrative to be doing like literally anything right now, right? Still in a strong accumulation phase of this market. We have been going down, trending sideways for a long time now, and it seems like we might have some more so people focusing on shorts now. We're starting to see, like I said, some shorts starting to come into the market. I think a lot of people almost feel like they're losing hope in the market, and I literally don't blame them. Now that we're seeing every single narrative start to really take hits, because for a while meme coins were, running like crazy, right? But we are still sitting in extreme fear. We're sitting in the red, which, if you guys have seen my channel for a long time, a very simple indicator that I've been waiting to see hit has finally hit, and it's been in this range, in between whatever, in between, like, let's say 0 and 50, right? AKA on the fearful side of the scale now for weeks. I mean, technically months. Altcoins since literally like April, right? Have been in a fearful area. They're all down extremely bad. But usually when we see times like this, because this fear and greed index, when Bitcoin was all the way up here, it was still very, very high on this scale. This just a simple indicator kind of gives you an overall sentiment gauge. Because usually when we're in very extreme fear and constantly sitting in this range, especially when we're in a bull market, that is usually an indicator to be looking to DCA, jump into your favorite coins, even on dips, different coins that are bottomed out. And personally, like I said, I'm still hyper bullish going forward, based on previous cycles that we've seen on Bitcoin. Even if I just zoom out again. And even on a weekly though, looks like this candle has been holding very well, or the previous week, and I actually would not be surprised to see Bitcoin, over there. Well, actually, it's Sunday right now. I'd say over the next few days, maybe we start to see a nice push to the upside here. But for the time being, I'm going to get into like what I predict for Bitcoin is going to do over the next few days to a week in a second. But again, one of the main reasons why I'm still extremely bullish, hyper bullish going forward, again, is because based on previous cycles, this kind of parabolic move that we saw in the market in the last cycle, parabolic move in the last cycle before that, it was all around 5-6 months after the Bitcoin halving. We are still, I don't even think 4 months out yet from the halving. This is in April to May to June, July, August. So actually, about 4 months, give or take, minus like 3 days from 4 months. And I still think going forward, it's very, very, up in the air with the market too, especially with everything political going on. Just a lot of uncertainty in this market right now. I think is honestly keeping it very, range bound for what it is. But for the time being, I'm gonna get into a bunch of altcoins specifically that I'm looking at to potentially add to. Because I just want to make this video just to show you guys some opportunities in the market. So like I said, I feel like the opportunity is unbelievable for certain entries and certain coins that I have on my radar personally. But last week I kind of said that we were going to range in between probably 50 something, low 50s to about maybe high 50s. And we obviously did have this huge recovery candle on the 8th a few days ago, and we're starting to come back down again. And personally, I thought we did have a rebound, a lot, honestly, kind of sooner than I thought. That was a pretty big candle for what it was. I kind of assumed we were going to be ranging in here for a while before we broke out, bounce back in. I assumed it was going to take at least 2 weeks or so, maybe a week. It only took a few days. But same thing for right now. I kind of expect potentially a little more downside / sideways action. More than likely, we will be coming back into this box, maybe 55, 56 for the time being. But I'm not here to, try to predict the entire market, right? I just expect that we are going to chop for a little while still and continue to chop, well within this area, within this range. And like I said, there are a lot of shorts in the market, but that could gear up for, some sort of pretty nice short squeeze too going forward, especially if we have some really good news / catalysts that can, boost this market back up again in the short term. But for the time being, over the next few days, I expect we're going to chop for a little bit, and we could start to see some more upside, but I would honestly expect just anything, prices sit in between maybe 54, 55, upwards of, maybe 60K. Again, we'll just keep it like this. That's 60K to like 55. I don't expect any crazy moves to the upside or another dump like anything like that. Again, to the downside, even further. Like I said, we're probably going to bounce and sit for a bit. So anyways, let us go to Dex Screener now. Because I'm bringing up mainly meme coins right now. There are a ton of insane opportunities in the market. What's different with meme coins though is it's a very emotional game with crypto in general, right? But when you have meme coins that technically do not have any real, thesis or value behind it, once people start to lose hope and faith in a market, meme coins are usually going to be the first things that end up dumping to insane levels, right? It kind of goes both ways. Meme coins are they're fun. There's no utility, no promises. When things go and turn for the worst, meme coins are going to have some of the hardest drops. But when things reverse and completely flip, and everyone's bullish in the market, they're going to have the most upside, right? So that's why I think we're still seeing meme coins. Some of them are holding up. Some of them are down pretty hard. But I think for a lot of panic dumps in the market, especially for memes, I think they are really good opportunities because the upside eventually will be very violent. So this is lock-in. So this is not an actual trade I've taken. I've had this up for a month. That was a price target I was waiting for all the way back here for price to eventually come and bounce to. But the main reason why was, again, as I didn't really think about it, but if you guys watched my meme coin video a week ago, I talk about coins that are kind of just in a hype phase, and then they have a sell-off phase, exhaustion phase, dump phase, and then they trend sideways for a little bit. To me, I never really thought about it, but I guess Lock-in's entire run was fairly bullish, and it had mainly its hype phase all the way from May. Which again can happen. It was just constant up only without. Well, I don't know. It can be very difficult to kind of gauge how certain charts look. But for me here, I personally would not have expected price to come this low. But at the same time, I was kind of waiting for it, And for that exact reason, though, that's why, is because when meme coins do decide to dump, And in my opinion, this is lock in. This is, in my opinion, a very strong Solana meme coin, sitting at 10 million right now. Again, people panic dump, they get violent, right? But if you have a very strong community that really believes in the coin and in the vision, usually dips like that eventually get bought up once the entire sentiment really flips again. But I think risk to reward wise for lock in, I have a lot of conviction in this. Um, I think this is a really good potential opportunity in the market as of right now. We got Michi as well. Michi, you know, I've been bullish on this for a long time, and it just cannot find its legs right now to make that next leg up. I know in due time it will, but it just cannot get up. And again, this is another hypothetical trade entry that I posted in our group. But Michi itself, same thing though. I personally am very bullish on it. I think even still at 76 million, the mind share that this coin has on Twitter is, close to none other than Popcat and Whiff for Solana meme coins. Like when someone brings up, maybe not necessarily a lot of people's top 5 cats, but if you just in general, if someone says what are the 5 cat coins or what are 5 soul cat coins, Michi I guarantee is going to be brought up in any single convo about cat coins on Solana. So mind share wise, which I think is super important for it, key, absolutely huge for Michi. Community insanely strong. They're not going anywhere. Like you got some die hard holders holding this coin that I've seen. I think it's a great play long term. Again, keep in mind very long term. I'm talking. Just check the fear and greed index, right? We're talking when we're in extreme fear. Long term, time to buy. When everyone's panicking, uncertainty is at a max. This was. This is kind of the same thing. It's going to be the difference of. When you're looking at the chart here, very uncertain. Is it going to go up? Is it going to continue to dump? Is it going to nuke? Is it going to drop? What is happening, right? Fear is at very red area here. And then what happened? Major move for a few months. All the way in the heavy, heavy green here. And then now we've reset the fear and greed index. We're all the way in the red here. And again, short term, you guys can just look at it like this. Whatever happens, short term, price could do this, right? Where's our long term goal? Somewhere up here. We know for a fact at some point it's going to go here. Again, this was a terrible, terrible thing, drawing, but, let's say price just bounces again, starts to bounce. Whatever price does anywhere in the short term, unless we get some literal World War III, some crazy more news that comes in that can draw this market even lower. Again, I still have high targets for the rest of the cycle. Anywhere in between 80, 90K, upwards of like 110K for the next major leg up, potentially topping out somewhere like that. Because I know a lot of people I've seen call for, like 150, 200, 250K Bitcoin. And I personally, if it hits that, by all means, but I will absolutely not call for 150K Bitcoin. Not even close. I think in between 90K to 110K is very reasonable. And again, maybe not for a literal topping out of Bitcoin, but for the next real major leg, major move, almost something like we saw here, how it just, went up, had a little dip, huge leg up, right? Like this was a multi-month move. Like we saw something even somewhat similar play out, that would probably take us right into this area, right? Maybe around 100K, a little bit higher. So that's the kind of idea that I have behind that. Um, another one too that we got right now that I've had my eye on for a while. I actually bought into this one at 800K, literally sold for a loss. I don't know how. I actually don't know if I called this on the channel, but again, I would have got stopped out. But this is why I want to short the shit out of every meme coin that I think is topped out, guys. Like, you have no idea how many coins. I don't know why I don't just implement it myself. I think mainly because a lot of these lower caps you can't just trade on any exchange, right? And especially in the US, you can't just do that. But I made this drawing end of July. I was like, you know what, it's probably gonna, and this is what I mean by this bounce. Yeah, it didn't do it right, but let's see here. I expect it to come down, have one more bounce up, and then just go right down into it, right? That's exactly what Aura did. That's actually nuts. But yeah, I think one of my first, when I actually got into Aura, was down here, or somewhere here. I bought in, went down like 50%, sold for a loss. I'm like, unbelievable. But anyways, looking at it now, we are now back into an area, again, where I would actually look for an entry. This is where I tell all of you guys, if you looked at the chart, before this, when you see a chart like this and it's up only, you have to just expect what is going to happen. It's not going to continue to go up. I feel like a lot of people, they zoom the chart out and they're like, oh, it's going to keep going and going. It's like, bro, when you're looking at a daily chart, this is drawn out all the way from June, July into, about 2 months, just like, look at this constant higher highs, lower highs, right? And then a huge, I almost call it like the final blow off top for the move, right? And then it finally came down. But like I said, I think Aura is getting into a very good area for potential long-term buy. Yeah, this is another culture coin. Aura is just a very common word that, younger people are using today. Yeah, I feel like such a boomer. Oh my god. Yeah, I was looking into like just a bunch of different terms and stuff that, younger people are saying. I'm like, it is it's ridiculous. Like, new generation's cooked, I swear. It is wild. Because I thought some of the stuff that my age group, I'm 26, stuff that my age group used to say in high school and stuff like that. I thought we were nuts, but I'm like, oh my god. So shout out you guys, and shout out Aura, because I think this looks super good. Again, though, long term, do not be surprised if we see more downside. Again, I'm not gonna lie, I think the market conditions, aka the actual sentiment, has more effect though than any sort of TA that I can do. And what I mean by that is, because let's say if Bitcoin and ETH and Sol just trend sideways and or down a little bit, even if this chart looks good, even if it's the most bullish meme coin on the planet, if the majors aren't making those next legs up, if they're not making those moves, the sentiment is completely just, out of control. Most meme coins, not even just meme coins, but any altcoins, are not going to hold, their support levels. They're not going to do anything that you think technicals will do. It's all based on the sentiment. I think the sentiment is a lot more important than any technical charts can do. But with that being said, what I mean by that is, even just looking at this here, you could put this as a very short-term support level, right? Which, it could hold here. It could hold, absolutely, but in my opinion, again, if we start to see a little bit more downside, like I said earlier, I do expect a little bit more chop, which would probably mean even more downside. This probably will break. Maybe it goes to around in between 10 to 15 million. I'd say would be the lowest area. But at that point, to me, that would just be major discount. Like this Aura, in my opinion, there's certain coins. I feel like they're at like this like next level of meme coin where it's kind of like confirmed within the crypto Twitter community that this is a solid coin. No matter what the price action is gonna do once it's down, a lot. It's like people know that it's gonna bounce back, right? And those three that I've mentioned so far, in my opinion, are in that category. Lock in, absolutely. I think once the market sentiment comes back, whether lock in goes to 5 million, stays at 10, bounces up to 15, chills. I think a lot of people know that it will bounce back heavily, and or people are going to start reallocating into it once the sentiment's better. Because these are just very strong meme coins as of lately. Or you know what, not even as of lately. Over the last couple months they've been pretty prominent, right? Like I said, currently very short term wise, I would not be surprised to see this, bounce, trend sideways, break, maybe bounce, some random shit like that. But if you guys have seen my channel, I'm very much so focused on culture coins. I don't like to focus all my time and energy on dog coins and stuff like that. Like I said, the reason why I bring Michi up though is because community is next level, and I think it's just at a discount as well. But as far as for this video, I'm trying to think if there's any. Let's check something here. Yeah, so this is just a random thing I like to do sometimes. So this is like it's basically where if you're dividing price into 4 parts, if you're buying something, so this is from the literal bottom, like the lows. The low 25 percentile here is a very clear discount in price. Anything in this red, heavy above, you're paying premium for it. This is usually what I mean, I don't usually do this, but sometimes I like to look at that. If I know a coin is so, far from its high. I mean, this is now, around 70%. Anything around 70, 80% usually is a great entry. Something like this. But again, keep in mind, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Especially with these meme coins, guys, they can do anything. But in my opinion, these 3 going forward, they have long-term strength ahead of them. They're not going to be these, they're not just going to have this little pump and then they're going to dump and trend flat, for 3 months. Like these, I think these have a lot of staying power going forward. I really like these 3. And these are outside of, Mumu, Retardio, and Mog, which are still personally my top 3 meme coins that are larger in market cap going forward. Those I literally will not even look at until, at least early 2025, mid 2025. Whenever I feel like we're actually at that next level, somewhat topped out for the entire market, those are very strong conviction coins of mine, in my opinion. But I think for some lower cap stuff, Aura and Lock-in I think are very strong going forward as well. So outside of that, it's just some coins I wanted to bring up. And outside of that, I appreciate you guys watching. I know this market is brutal. This has been one of the most brutal long-term sideways shakeout, sideways price action movements I've ever seen in the market. It is brutal, especially for alts. Personally, I'm continuing to stay bullish, just across the board. And again, I'm going to be bringing up a lot of Bitcoin DeFi stuff because there's a ton of development lately in the space. But I talked about my thoughts the other day on it, and yeah, so stay up to date, stay bullish, and outside of that, I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks.